first of all, I'll be very grateful and I'd like to extend my thanks to Alex and his team to allow me to present and give a perspective from a centre's perspective, essentially to say why we work with ATHE, what are the best things about ATHE, and why, if some of the centres here are looking at adopting or adapting, taking on new qualifications, why we need to do so than looking at any other awarding organisation. I'll start off with giving you a bit of a background about myself. I come from a telecoms background, and a number of redundancies led to an opportunity when I started project management back in 2012. And that has blossomed into a full-fledged independent higher education institution. We'll be celebrating our 10 years next year, and I think there are a number of milestones that we have achieved thanks to ATHE, because ATHE was the first awarding organisation that we took up. And as they have grown, we have grown tremendously on the back of some of the best practices, some of the things that have been shared with us in terms of processes on the quality side, and the three pillars in the education that we get to see, which is teaching and learning, quality assurance, and operations, which we have adapted in our organisation, and we've grown from strength to strength. So some bits of the slides are going to be just sharing with you in terms of how we've grown, where we have come from when we started way back in 2012. It used to be a different company, but it is in this shape and form today, which is called UK Versity, and the name Versity stands for versatility, which is we offer a number of qualifications which a university would do. And I think one of the key principles that I found in university was on that whatever universities do, we're going to do it at 1/6 the cost. So we're going to meet the universities, give them a run for their money, and I think we teach and deliver the same qualifications which universities offer at at a very high value in terms of what learners would want to gain. And I think I would put it this way: me and my team are quite proud to carry that British flag globally, to say that when we've expanded to 8 locations over the years, we are the best of what British education represents from a private sector point of view. So we want to be the likes of Future Learn, or the likes of Coursera. I would say the Americans are a bit more boldish and a bit more grand in terms of doing things. So what they have achieved, what we want to achieve from a private sector perspective, and we've got zero funding from the government. So where we've come today is primarily because of our team, our efforts, our hard work, our dedication to making sure learners actually succeed in doing and achieving the qualifications to join, and then obviously completing it and then achieving it with us as we have progressed over the years. I'll give it a try. This particular slide shows you what I've pretty much covered. We started off in 2012. We've taken on a number of awarding organizations over the years, but I think ATHE is the shining beacon that we represent because of the fact that the qualifications are very different. What they offer is different from what the Pearsons, the City and Guilds, the NCFEs offer. Some of the qualifications are widely accepted because they have the credit and the rigor in terms of the credits of the units that they carry. When you look at qualifications from other awarding organizations like NCFE or City and Guilds, OCR, they have 3 credits, 6 credits for the unit. But here you have academic qualifications with vocational intent built in to be for the learners, which essentially employers want. So they gain skills out of these qualifications rather than just getting the qualifications themselves. We work with a number of different awarding organizations, and one of the key bits that we've done over the years is we've also taken a BAC accreditation, which is like a quality seal of approval, to say that we are a college which has an educational oversight. We are inspected once in 4 years, and we are inspected on standards, quality assurance, progression, students enrolled versus students completing, and things like that. And I think over the years, we've taken on awarding organizations with the responsibility that if we do add an awarding organization and offer qualifications from it, we want to make sure that we have the teaching material for it. We have everything possible which the learner would need to study the qualification with us. So when they study with us, they don't go outside to Google, they don't go to libraries, they don't go to any other portals to get information. They get books, presentations, handouts, recorded lectures, articles, journals, everything from us. And I think one of the things that we've looked at is, again, a point here, why ATHE? You look at a lot of awarding organizations, they come out with qualifications, but they don't give you resources. They don't give you the fundamental building blocks of how to offer that qualification. Things like assessment plans, quality documents, things like assignment briefs. You're looking at documents which primarily help you as a center start off and offer that qualification with a clear confidence that this is something that we know we are able to offer, and this is what the learners will actually gain from. Our mission is quite clear. We want to offer the same qualifications that universities offer at 1/6 the value. We want to do it online. I think I've had a number of conversations with chancellors, different university chancellors over the years, and one thing which I maintain and I kind of say is that 70% of all education is backed up by a lot of research, would be delivered online by 2030. And this is something that has been seen during the COVID period, which has been very good for us, very good for ATHE as well, because of we being one of the centers. We've seen a number of learners engaging with us because we don't have traditional students who are students. We have learners who have a job, who have a family, who have kids. They can't leave their job, they can't leave their family, they can't do either or, and they want to still learn, and they want to learn it and gain that qualification in a way which is flexible for them. So what we have as our mantra is you wrap around your study around your work, not the other way around. So that is why we are very successful. Every learner who joins us, average age 37 plus, is able to complete the qualification with us. And I say this very proudly, not just for myself, but also on behalf of my teaching team. We have 13, 14 learners that we can count on our fingers which have dropped out ever of any qualification that we've offered. And that could be because of extenuating circumstances. So when universities and the HESA surveys and all those things talk about, 90% progression rate and completion rate, here we are with 98.4% completion rate on all qualifications which learners join with us. I think one of the things which works with us in terms of our mission is because you're paying for that qualification, it is in your favor to be able to complete that qualification. So we leave no stone unturned, and that is where ATHE also plays their part, is because as an organization, when we give them feedback, they are able to pretty much take it on the board, change things around or move things around if they are permissible, and that allows us to offer that qualification to the learner, and that can be seen at level 3, the IATs, in health and social care. You look at business and management and all such qualifications, because learners find value out of what they're learning with us at our center. Now, one of the other things which I would also say is that we started doing live teaching, and that started from August 2015. So up until now, we've delivered over 11,000 lectures. All of them are recorded, all of them are on our YouTube channel, and we are putting them out not just because we want learners to look at it, but we want to actually also showcase that we do teach and deliver 2,500 sessions or lectures every year when we teach and deliver these qualifications. So as a center of ATHE, we teach and deliver practically all their qualifications, which are on the website, not the endorsed one, not the customized qualification, but pretty much all the qualifications in accounting, business, management, healthcare, law, and strategic management. Now this is a bit of a heavy slide, but the idea there is some parts of this have been taken from a visit which we had at the center from Colleen in July 2015, and I bring that as a reference point in our assessment standardization meetings more often with new lecturers, is to say that there are 4 pillars in education, and these 4 pillars cannot be compromised. One of the pillars is the awarding body, because they give us that responsibility, they hold us responsible that we are the custodians to be able to teach and deliver this qualification. So we have to do justice in terms of making sure our quality processes are robust enough, our teaching and delivery is meeting the criteria and the guidelines set by ATHE, and also at the same time we have staff and people who are competent enough to be able to deliver those qualifications. And that is what is reflected in the number that we see in terms of they progressing and completing the qualifications with us. So we strive on one thing which we also kind of relate quite closely to ATHE, is the fact that all the staff in my organization are troubleshooters. So if we have an issue, if we have a problem, it has to be solved that day. It cannot be postponed to next day. It cannot be postponed to next day. That's the mantra, that's the bottom line. If we can solve that problem on that day, whatever it requires, time, effort, money, whatever it is, we will solve that problem. If somebody comes into us to say, okay, that's a recommended book on ATHE's list, we don't have it on Moodle, that is bought the same day and is provided to the learner on the Moodle platform as it is. So we take great pride in obviously ensuring that if they come back to us because they are studying and because they are wanting flexible education, then we need to make sure, because they are paying us for it, we need to make sure that they are getting what they are paying us for. And that is where we strive for operational excellence, which is what we see in a small team with ATHE doing, punching far over their weight, and that is what we strive in our side of the organization as well. We use all the systems which universities would use. We have all systems in place, whether it's a plagiarism scanner, whether it's an accounting software, whether it's a learner management system, an attendance system, an HR system, when you name it, we have all those systems, a CRM, and everybody is able to see when a learner calls us on the phone or when we receive an email, they're able to see us at the same place. So never comes a situation when it starts up with the fact that, okay, can I get your registration number? Can you tell me what course you are registered on? No. The registration number, the course, when they started, all those details are available on a single dashboard with all the staff in the organization. And that is what I mean, which is where we kind of try and always strive on making sure that operationally, because we use technology and we're set up as an online provider, we make no compromise in making sure that these things are available and it makes the staff productive. I think on the qualification side, we offer qualifications in 15 sectors, which is what most universities, brochures would talk about. We have qualifications in those sectors as well, and thanks to ATHE, 27 of those qualifications that we offer come from the ATHE portfolio. So I would class business and management as one sector, but within that you have level 3, 60, 120 credit, level 4, level 5, level 6, level 7. They'll all be classed as individual levels as far as qualification is concerned. So we are able to teach, deliver all qualifications what ATHE offers, and that also helps us differentiate from the market. We are also a Pearson Center, but in Pearson we only offer the BTECs 4 and 5 and level 7. But we don't offer other qualifications which could be offered through the BTEC route, because BTEC also has lots of different qualifications in different sectors like tourism and healthcare and stuff, IT and computing. But with ATHE, we are able to offer all these qualifications because of the fact that they are all available as a suite, and under one agreement, as a center, we can get the approvals to teach and deliver those qualifications. These are some of the other sectors that we represent because of other awarding organizations that we work with. We recently added Ascentis to our portfolio, and we've started to offer the nursing and midwifery qualification. The reason of picking and choosing some of the qualifications with the ATHE and some of the other awarding organizations is to ensure that in relevance-wise, we've given up a lot of awarding organizations over the years. We've given up, say, for example, LRN, Digital Marketing Institute, Qualified. We've given up, I think, 1 or 2 others. And the reason we've given up those awarding organizations is we don't find value in them to be able to support the teaching and delivery of those qualifications. So in each of these, we see that the learners can actually develop skills and can, after completing the qualification, straight away go to the market and get employed. If you do a BTEC, HND diploma, great qualification. I'm a Pearson examiner myself, but we go through a lot of checks. We make sure that qualifications are delivered to the standard which the centers need to as per the quality code. But do they lead to employability? I don't think so. But if I look at ATHE qualifications, a lot of our learners, because they're mature learners, if they are a manager, they do a strategic management qualification, they become a general manager. We've had a number of high-profile students who've studied with us not just because it's an ATHE qualification, because of the fact that they see relevance in these qualifications, because they go into modules, they look at the modules, and they see there's value in what we are teaching because the qualifications are fresh, the content is updated, and it's not available elsewhere with the university, because some of the qualifications, like on the computing side, which have been introduced, they're quite rigorous, they're quite meticulously drawn up, and some of the universities, when they picked it up for top-ups, also struggle to map them against the modules they teach, because they have 6 modules, ATHE has 8 or 10 modules in those qualifications. And apart from Pearson, although some awarding organizations that we work with have a lot of optional modules, but the relevancy of those optional modules to the market in which we are delivering those qualifications makes a lot of difference. So I might have an English legal system as a module in Pearson or within ATHE, but would that module make sense for us to be able to teach a student in India or Malaysia or China? Probably not. So in those cases, sometimes when we give feedback, to ATHE on modules, to revise indicative content. That is taken up on board quite quickly, and revisions happen. Grading of qualification, which is quite important in certain markets, have been done in certain new qualifications which have been introduced, which you do not get to see in other qualifications from other awarding bodies. So I think it justifies having ATHE as a part of your portfolio if you're delivering further and higher education qualifications, because their qualifications carry a certain currency which is far different from some of the other awarding organizations which offer a lot of Me Too qualifications. This is the team behind UK Versity. I've got a team of lecturers. This is the full-time staff, so there are a number of other staff which is part-time, but this is the full-time team which is behind UK Versity in terms of our success so far, and we offer qualifications from level 2 to level 8. I think with OTHM, one of the other awarding organizations, we are one of the 3 centers which are able to teach level 8. But if you ask me, we've got the approval for it, but we've not enrolled a single student because we have not got the profile of the student with 20 years of experience, management practice to be able to enroll on that qualification. So what we also do as a center is do a lot of information advising guidance with the help of ATHE and some of the specs that they've created in the documents to inform the learner that this is the right qualification for you, this is the right one for you because this is the path that you want to take. And there are bits and pieces in discussion with the head of qualification, Simon, to say that we need to further improve some of those aspects, because when we are up here, we need to be the best. So obviously, sometimes when we give out that information, advice and guidance, we want to be perfect in what we are saying. We want to be accurate and factual on what we say, rather than based on an assumption. I think the impact on students is one of the slides which I put forward to highlight the fact that we offer the best of British experience. Somebody who wants to learn, is genuinely craving to learn, should come to UK Versity because of the fact that we do tutorials, we do teaching for one-on-one student as well. It does not matter for the P&L, it does not matter for the balance sheet. But if I have a student who wants to start a course, we have courses running on ATHE or other awarding organizations where we have only one student enrolled. Obviously, business, management, healthcare, computing, law are the biggest chunks, but there are other courses in which we sometimes, even do sessions for one student who have joined the qualification. So we offer the best of British experience, because if you want to go to a university and you want to take out a loan of, say, £10,000 for the first year, in 1/6 that cost, you will do the same qualification with us through ATHE without any compromise. So you'll be learning by one-on-one sessions, you'll be getting all the teaching and learning material, your assessments will be done on time, certification is done on time, and you get formative, summative feedback, everything that you expect to get, because nobody comes perfect to us. So one of I did hear a point from one of the tables is that ATHE, for example, should look at, or there was a suggestion that we should look at promoting academic writing, some of the basic skills which are required for learners to be able to do the assignments. I think these are videos that we've done and we've created over the years, because we do see that this is a genuine value add which centers need to do. I don't see that as a role for the awarding organization. If I'm taking on a learner who wants to study, we need to be able to decide the eligibility criteria, because they've already defined it in the qualification. So it is down to the centers to put that in place. I don't think we can expect that from awarding organizations. It's a case of money, time and effort to be put. Pearson has done that. I think ATHE started the student hub, and in a couple of years, it takes a lot of time, and in a couple of years that would become a full-fledged channel from which learners would be able to get some of this value addition, which centers essentially do. And I think this is something that we need to do rather than the awarding organization. We won a number of awards. I think the awards are, there are different awards, and we can always say, one thing which I've learned is we don't quantify things, and we use statistics, but we don't quantify it. Or we've grown 100%, we've grown year on year. How much percentage have you grown? 100%. What was the base? 10 students. So it is, to a certain extent, to me, is irrelevant. Yes, we do apply for awards. We are applying for the Queen's Award this year, and I think we will win at least in one of the categories. And it is a good thing to have, because it gives you a seal of approval at the highest level. And I think this is a suggestion to Alex as well, that just like I would say again, don't want to use the word again and again, but there are some awarding organizations which have awards for centers, they have awards for students, they have awards for academics or lecturers or teachers, and that could be something which could be a process which ATHE could start. There are a number of ones which I could draw up a list of which ATHE has done, which other awarding organizations have followed. And I think one of the initiatives was PlugScan. And I remember again Colleen coming back to us in 2015 when PlugScan as an initiative was started, and it was controlled by the awarding organization. And that bit is now about of Turnitin. So we continue to use that for the last 5 years. But it's down to the center, and it's one of the initiatives which ATHE had started, that we need to look at scanning of assignments, we need to look at the plagiarism, we need to look at similarity. And I have lots of other awarding organizations that we work with. They don't stress on that fact that we need to check plagiarism. It is down to the center or down to the academic type to say, okay, this is fast or whatever. So there are lots of things which are good, and I think this is something which is highlighted by the fact that we get a lot of referrals. Because if you are happy with the service that you get, because at the end of the day we are a private provider and there's a service. Our theme, our company theme is education empowers lives. And this is true to the fact that when a learner studies with us and they do genuinely see that their life has been empowered by doing that qualification, they refer 10 learners to us. So we don't do traditional marketing as lots of other centers will do, and we get our students from our word of mouth, and that is where I think we make a big impact as far as students are concerned. There are bits that we put on in terms of ATHE partnership. There are things that we've learned from Ben, from Leanne, our predecessors, Natalie, I can name a few names, Jackie for example, and there are bits which Colleen and Cedric and Alex and sometimes the team, the EQ is currently, we have Bernadette. Before that we had, forgetting the gentleman's name, and we've always asked for come in and find faults, because what we want to do is improve. Nobody's perfect, so we are always wanting to improve. So I think our journey has been that when we have discussions with ATHE, they give us feedback, and that has to be candid, transparent, honest, blunt feedback, because we want to improve. We want to be a private university in 10 years' time, and that's the goal. So we want to improve, we want to encourage and get the best practices that we need to have, so that we are basically singing from the same songbook as far as any awarding organization is concerned when they come in and inspect us for standards. So I think we see that with ATHE, and that is what we leverage, some of the best practices which ATHE has shared with us, and I'm a firm believer good things are meant to be copied, but they are adapted at our end. So if we see a best practice in some location, believe me, we copy that in straight away into our organization, but we adapt it to what suits our learners' experience and our working at UK Versity. And that is where I think ATHE's partnership has borne fruits for us, and we've seen growth year on year. There are centers which are having declining growth, learners are shunning them, we get a lot of transfer learners, and the reason why it happens is because of the way we have implemented ATHE's policies to the core. And don't get me wrong, ATHE is a big part of our business, so obviously we can't go wrong with this, and that is why we ensure that we try and implement everything minutely as they suggest in our working on teaching and delivery and quality side on a day-to-day operational basis. So there are lots of things that we do. There are cases wherein we became, I would say, a guinea pig. Susan won't like it, but we were the first center which took up IFA thanks to Alex and ATHE, and we were given this opportunity to start to offer some of the ATHE qualifications and accounting side as modules. And what we've done with that is, I think Susan or Jonathan or ATHE can vouch for it. We have learners who are joining us, they pick us as a center, they're able to complete units, they are able to get the information, advice and guidance they need. I think we have no complaints whatsoever, no issues whatsoever with any of the learners. And there are times where we have to deal with them very diplomatically because they are quite matured learners. It is a bit of a teamwork between ATHE, us and Susan and team, because we have to push it back to Susan to sometimes say, that's a decision which IFA can make, we can't. That's a decision which ATHE can make, we can't. We are a teaching and learning organization, and this is our role. And the moment you say and make that clear to them, all the other issues, queries go away. So I think we try and do our bit to increase business, and our way to gain business, but within the remits of what we can do as a center, because we are ultimately the custodian or a representative of the ATHE in the market. We are not the awarding organization. We are a teaching institution, and I think ATHE places great faith and trust in us, and that is something that we cannot, we have to make sure that we cannot betray that trust, not just for ATHE, for other awarding organizations as well. Lastly, there are always things that we cherish. There are things that we want ATHE to look into, and these are suggestions only from our side. I think there was a valid point raised by Jackie Malloy earlier in terms of partnerships. But I think the key point there is that we can be a very good path wherein universities can actually pick up genuine students who are looking at doing top-ups or looking at degree routes. So I think those partnerships have to be initiated from ATHE side because we won't probably be able to, start discussions on that pretty much straight away by highlighting some of our issues. So progression for us is one of the biggest points that we want ATHE to do is because of the fact that I resisted taking a Pearson in 2017. Is because with Pearson, if you do a HND, the university rolls out a red carpet. Come and join us for the top-up. But with ATHE, sometimes it's the case of knocking onto the door to Metropolitan to say, no, we have not heard about ATHE. No, you have heard about ATHE. Here we go, there's a letter from Natalie, and this is the qualification, this is the off-call register, and then they start talking. So I think those bits is what we want ATHE to work on so that it is more recognized, maybe a bit of promotion, so that the academic teams, the admission teams of universities know. And I think somebody else raised that point again, that we need to have more and more of ATHE's qualification on UCAS, which is what would give the confidence to learners to say, if I do a level 3, if I do a level 4, or I do this particular qualification, I have a progression because when I fill a UCAS form, I can drop down, choose the qualifications on there, which gives me those many credits for UCAS tariff. And I think that is what will instill more confidence in let's say, universities for progression. So for the events that we do, obviously, although we are, I would say 90% we're teaching online, but we've transitioned into doing classroom-based teaching courses as well, just before COVID. So we teach level 3 nursing and midwifery and some of the healthcare qualifications now in the class. And because of the student studies that we are able to use because of BAC accreditation, we have students sometimes who come and do classroom-based courses with us. So this is a glimpse of that, what learners say, I don't need to show you. And when I say that when you go to a university, a lot of our students or learners, I don't call them students, they're all learners, professionals. They ask us one question before they join. Will I also attend a graduation ceremony like you did last year? And this is a testament in fact that we're lucky, touch wood, every year the Lord Mayor of Manchester is the chief guest at our ceremony. And we've been doing this for 6 years, and this year also we'll be doing. We get most learners coming in from the UK, but if we are to bring learners from abroad, I think this year's graduation ceremony will be 1,800 learners, right? We are probably the 10th largest or one of the largest college in Northwest right now, and some of the universities don't offer that many courses that we offer. So if a metropolitan brochure is to be looked at with a UK Versity brochure, we're on 150 courses with everything available. And if I go to Metropolitan, if I make a phone call that I want to do an MSc in logistics, they'll pass you to one person, somebody will pass you there, 10 days down the line you get a reply, and they say, okay, this course is not available, we have a September session, we don't accept this qualification. And that's the route which learners need to take, and wait for 10-15 days. Whereas when they come to us, they can do a taster session, they can go onto our YouTube channel, look at previous sessions, and decide to join, and obviously join at 1/6 the cost. And that is thanks to some of the qualifications which ATHE has introduced, which allows us to give them progression routes should they wish to progress to a university later. So in general, I think what I would like to summarize is that ATHE is very important to us, as hopefully we are to ATHE, but there are things which we need to improve on, both as a center, and obviously there are some suggestions to the awarding organization, and the bits and pieces that we want to look at on some of them have been discussed with Simon. It's just a quick recap of what we have mentioned here. So it's work in progress. I know things, Rome was not built in a day, so things won't happen over, take its time. But as long as we see some fruits of this happening, We are not forced to get on to another awarding organization to say we don't have this with ATHE, that's why we are taking on another one. Because at the end of the day, most AOs also want their mind share in terms of business. You know, they want, okay, how many learners can we get? How many, registrations can we get? So I think we are conscious of the fact that if we take on somebody, we should be able to give them business and in return also become a trusted partner for them as we become for ATHE and some of the other awarding organizations. So at this stage, thank you so much for bearing with me, and if there are any questions, I'll be happy to take.
Thank you, Ram. Thank you very much. That's a really good overview on the centre perspective.
Thank you.
The ATHE. Is there any questions for Ram before I use the stage?
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Just in terms